Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Hump Day Hotline with your co-host, me, Joe Miller, and you can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired, and I'm here with my buddy, Jay Spence. Go for it, Jay.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing this week? I hope y'all ready. We got a jam-packed show for y'all this week.
Jam-packed. There's a lot. What is good? What is good in your world? Talk to me.
As you see, I'm actually set up now. I have last week I had my mic and everything set up on a TV tray, and I had
That's funny.
The banner hanging with on hangers, actually, literally on hangers. So this week is we're all set up. It's nice, so I'm good. What's happening with you?
Same old, same old. I mean, the news that dropped today just about Ed Oliver, what a great news day for us as far as just getting kind of something to talk about is good. But no, things are good for me. We did some homework this week. You and I have gotten on here a couple times and try to get mic levels figured out and cameras figured out as yours is falling over. Hey, dude,
my dog just ran into my desk.
How come our handles aren't showing up? What happened? Where's our handles at?
Did you break it?
You're blaming me. That's pretty funny. You can figure this thing out. So
go for it.
I want to welcome everybody in to the Hump Day Hotline. And this is the way this program works. So we are live. We are live across all platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, as well as Streamcast. And this is an opportunity for you guys to interact with us. What we want to do is we basically want to field questions. We want to have a conversation. We want to talk to you. I am the host of the Overreaction Podcast, Jay Spence. My co-host, my partner in crime, is the host of the Code of Conduct Podcast. And I know there's a lot of you that listen to it. And if you don't listen to our podcast, I would encourage you to listen to our shows and find out who we are and what we're like and the things that we talk about and what we're interested in. You'll find that we're pretty much just like you guys as far as fans go. It looks like Spence is frozen. I don't know if he knows that or not, but I'm going to keep going. But what we want to do is we want to engage. We want to talk. So we're going to bring a couple different highlights to you. We're going to open it up for questions. The cool thing about the way this works, there is the ability to what they call super chat on YouTube. So if you're not watching us on YouTube, I would suggest you jump over to YouTube. There's a lot more people on YouTube that watch and kind of pay attention to what's going on. Comment, like the comment in YouTube, the YouTube side of stuff is like all over the place, and like there's a lot of cool interaction. Bills fans are there. It's a lot of fun. But you also, to the point that I'm trying to make, you also have the ability to super chat. And what that means is if you super chat and you donate a couple bucks, it'll basically make your question or comment be a priority. You'll jump to the front, if you will, of the line. So if you do that, but that's only available on YouTube. Also, while I'm thinking about it and while we're talking about just doing homework and doing the business that we have to do, if you jump over onto, and I got to drop the Hump Day Hotline banner, hang on 2 seconds. If you jump over to BF Fan Shop, you see all the time, whether it's the Bills guys, we were wearing our stuff last week, Rico, we had a lot of cool gear, apparel out there on bffanshop.com, whether it's the Buffalo versus everybody tagline that's behind us, both Spence and I, on the banners, or the logo with the BF on it. But what you do is if you go to BF Fan Shop after this show, don't go now, or if you want to just tab over and open up another tab on your browser and you go to BF Fan Shop, type in the promo code Hump Day. If you type in Hump Day, we're going to give you 10% off of anything that you order. And that works all the time, not just during the show. So if you do it anytime during this week, if you think about it on Friday, if you think about it on Saturday, hey, you know what? I need to get a shirt. I need to get something. Jump over to bffanshop.com, promo code Hump Day, HUMPDAY, no space, and we're actually going to give you 10% off, which is really cool. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. He is back.
I got to see if Pierre he fixed the thing for me to have code of conduct.
Oh, he did. He told us about. Now I'm frozen. He told us about that last week.
Now Joe's he's back now.
Yeah, I'm back. He told us about that. He threw it up there last week. He's probably going to be in the chats. He's usually watching, which is cool. But
yeah, I'm looking.
But we're not doing code of conduct tonight. We're not doing Bills guys tonight.
We're not doing
overreact tonight. We're doing Hump Day. So HUMPDAY, Hump Day. But let's get into the topic of the day, which is for those of you that have not been on Twitter and have not been on the news. It was announced today or released today that all the charges against Bills defensive tackle Ed Oliver, rookie defensive tackle going into his second year. All the charges have been dismissed against Ed Oliver. And I've got some stuff to read. What were your first thoughts as far as when you saw that news come across today, Spence? What did you think?
Well, I was just happy. It's like, the idea of Ed Oliver missing any games, whether it's 2, 4, 6 for a suspension,
right,
for a DUI, and
right,
carrying it. I know it wasn't a legal firearm, but still, if he was drunk or under
right,
the influence of anything, then it could have been serious legal issues. So I'm just happy that now we don't have to miss him for anything, and he can be focused just on being a beast.
Yeah, I remember when the news broke that it all had happened, and I remember seeing video of like the field sobriety test, and I remember watching him take his field sobriety test, and I was like, he doesn't look drunk to me. I mean, there's a way that drunk people look, right? I think originally a woman had actually called him in or called the police because she felt like he was swerving. I'm convinced now that woman was probably Sam Darnold, who just basically didn't want Ed Oliver to be playing in week 1 of the season. But what's interesting about, and I think where we get lost a lot of times, especially if you are from New York, is misunderstanding and not understanding that gun laws in other states of this country are not the same as they are in New York. Now, I am from New York. Jay Spence is from New York. I've lived in Ohio for about 13 years, and I've lived in other states. I lived in Missouri for a while. I lived in Florida for a while. And there are gun laws are just different. So like in the state of Missouri, if you're 18 years old, you can throw a handgun under your car, like your driver's seat, and you can just drive around. Like it's no big deal. Texas is very similar. If you're of age and you want to carry a gun, by all means, you can carry a weapon. In New York State, if you're caught with a pistol, a handgun, and you don't have a permit and you don't have that gun registered or licensed to you, you're going to jail for a year. And I think a lot of times we get kind of wrapped up as New Yorkers in this thought of like, well, guns are bad and guns are scary, and all states have the same laws that we have. And that's just not true. Now, where it comes into play, to the point that you were just talking about, is in most of those states, if you have a firearm, especially a loaded firearm on you, and you are intoxicated, and that's in all states pretty much, if you've got a gun and you've been drinking, you're breaking the law. Like it's a felony at that point, which is a big time problem. What do you got up there? What are you rolling in front of me? Cody Finney's talking to us, which is cool.
Yeah, he just wants to know, so is it just a warning or what's going on? As of right now, there hasn't been anything from the league. The only thing that we've heard really is from Ed himself and from the team, and also Ed's lawyer. So the team is happy that Ed can focus on the season. That's what their statement said, that he can focus on his performance in camp. So, reading that, to me, that means we're straight. Like, I think we're good. But there was a comment that I had on here, and I'll pull that back up. But I don't know if the Adderall, it's like if it wasn't approved by the league, or if it's approved by the league, he can face a PED suspension. The thing is, initially, I feel like guys get warnings first anyway.
Yeah,
but
sometimes.
How often do you really see the first offenders really be suspensions?
So I think the problem with the Adderall, the issue with the Adderall is he admitted it. Like, didn't he say that he had taken some Adderall? Now, whether or not he has a prescription for it, none of us know. But the drug test, the drug panel, the screen that he took came back negative for
everything,
for pretty much everything.
Well, everything that they tested for.
Right. And I think what's hard for New Yorkers, especially, to try to understand is the weapon charge. So because he was not drunk when he took a breathalyzer test upon being arrested and going to the station, because he blew a 0.00, which means there was no alcohol in the system at all, that weapons charge goes completely away, because it's not illegal to have a handgun in the state of Texas, even concealed at that point, like in the vehicle. Right. Which is interesting. So at this point, if the NFL were to fine him or to suspend him, they're almost, I don't even know what to tell you. Like they're acting upon nothing, because he didn't break the law, and that's what it comes down to. Now, yes, people are worried about and concerned about this whole idea of, well, it's conduct detrimental to the league. It's not. If you knew how many football players have concealed carry permits, have guns and weapons, regardless in the state, because basically these are young, very rich men. And the reality is, one of the reasons that you get a concealed carry permit to carry a firearm is to protect yourself, and to protect yourself from somebody who might want to do harm to you. In this case, Ed Oliver lives in Texas. People that live out in the woods and in different places, bear country, people carry guns because of animals. So you just don't necessarily know, and it's hard for us to judge or jump out, I would say, like, and just prejudge. And there's a lot of prejudgment going on Twitter. Not only, I've got some stuff pulled up if we want to get to like Sal Capaccio's original tweet when the whole thing happened, and people like losing their minds, like that they need to cut him, they need to release him, and typical NFL young kid that doesn't know what he's got going for him. And there's still people that are like mad at Ed Oliver for effectively at this point not even breaking the law, like doing nothing wrong.
My thing is though, before you read that, I just want to say, like, it amazes me how many Bills fans I saw in the comments saying that we need to cut him when I personally know so many people who leave the Bills games drunk every Sunday that we have a game, and they drive home, and if they don't get pulled over, if they don't go to jail, and they're fine.
Well,
so
but
you get what I'm saying? It's like, so practice what you preach. Like, literally, we're doing it. I know so many people, and I'm sure if we are honest, everybody, a lot of us has at least one example of in our lifetimes we were drunk or had too much in our system, a little tipsy, and drove somewhere.
Well, you can admit that. I'm not going to admit that.
I'll admit it. Crown Royal was my thing, man. I should have had a deal with them before. Man.
How do we make them a sponsor of this show? Crown Royal, if you're listening, I'm gonna edit this part and we're gonna tag them. Like, we're looking for sponsors. Them. We're looking for sponsors, Crown Royal. So if you're up for it, we're up for it. So Ed Oliver actually took to Twitter today, and one of the things that he said is, now y'all go back and read this article knowing that all my blood work came back clean. Oliver wrote, but SIC, they said I had a beer can between my legs. Uses an expletive at that point. How does a 5'8" officer see inside of the window above his head anyway? How do 5 cop cars show up before even a sobriety test is taken? Basically what he's saying is his truck is lifted, right? So he's got a 4x4. Mm-hmm. It's probably on 36s. For those of you that don't know what that means, Google it. It basically means it's up in the air. He's a Texas kid. He's a cowboy. Like, this is what they drive. What he's saying is the cop. So if the window's here, I got to do this, right? So I'm looking out the window. The cop's head is like down here. Right. And there's no way that he could have seen what was in his lap. Not to mention the fact that I have not seen a report yet where an empty beer can was entered into evidence. Have you seen that? Like, was there a beer can?
Anywhere.
Not once
have I seen that, yeah.
So basically that's like my word against yours, and there's no way that Ed could have ditched it or thrown it away or disposed of the evidence at that point. I think what's funny is, like, I had a conversation with a friend on Twitter not long ago, literally just a couple hours ago, and he was talking about how all this is happening because Ed Oliver is a star. Like, he's getting star treatment. And for me, it's like, Ed Oliver's not that guy. Like, he's a second-year player on the Buffalo Bills in the middle of nowhere, Texas, like in this crazy county. I don't think that they're like pulling him out of the car, giving him a field sobriety test, arresting him, and then letting him go because he's Ed Oliver. He's not, pick a guy in the NFL. He's not he's not
a star, And I'm not saying that in a negative manner and when speaking towards him, right. But he's not a face that anybody outside of Buffalo. And I'm sure people in Houston know him. I get it. He went to college there, but I'm saying he's not. He's walking around in Cleveland. People just aren't going to know him. So I don't fully agree with that. I do. Well, we already said we don't want to go there, so that's another thing. But he, I just feel like there's a reason why multiple NFL players have come out and said certain things. And I just. Go ahead, because I don't want to keep mumbling. I'm trying not to go a certain direction.
No, and you're fine. And it's and I tweeted about it today, and you could loop it into everything that's going on in this country, kind of currently with what's going on. And I don't want to necessarily go there either. I would just probably leave it at this. For me, I'm just glad that it resolved itself, and it didn't turn into an issue in the moment. It didn't turn into an issue like, he in my opinion, he handled it well, and I'm sure he had great legal counsel. And let's be honest, Ed Oliver doesn't seem like an unintelligent man. So the fact that he kept his mouth shut, he was quiet through the process. He didn't respond to people. The Bills actually put out and I've got it here somewhere. The Bills put out a statement. Let me see if I can find it. We are pleased with the ruling today regarding Ed Oliver. We supported it and worked with Ed throughout the offseason program as it is a priority for us to allow the legal process to play out. We appreciate Ed's honesty and his communication with us. With his name cleared of all charges, he can now turn his attention on the upcoming training camp and season, which is what you said. And I think that to me is probably the thing to be most proud about as it pertains to Ed Oliver, is that he just handled it well, and he let the system work itself out and do what it's supposed to do. It's unfortunate that he had to deal with it, but yeah, it is what it is. So Steve the judge is in the house. So what's he saying?
Who looks better, Judge or Tilt Money? I tell you what, I will. I'll put the poll up on the time. I'll put a poll up over that one. I don't want to be the judge of you guys.
So who looks better? Well, Judge is rocking a mullet. Well, a self-proclaimed mullet. He ain't got nothing on me. Your boy back in 1990, 1991, when this old man was in high school, I had a red, like, magical flowing mullet that literally went down to the middle of my back. So like Judge is just basically got a hairy neck. But he is trying. Like, he's working the mullet and he's got the whole thing going on top. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. He's a good-looking dude. Like, Tilt is, and they both rock the black frame glasses, so sometimes it's kind of hard to tell them apart. We're going to need one of them to get a different color pair. But to Judge Mathis's point, again, you see that up on the screen. Super chats get priority. So if you've got a question for us, or if you want us to respond to something, hit that super chat. Also hit the like. Let's get on this thing and chat us up a little bit. So if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Is that
That's what it said.
I saw that on Twitter today. That just like OJ, he's innocent, so we're good. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that. So you're making me red because I'm laughing so hard. That's funny. That's funny stuff. So, but yeah, good news for Bills fans for week 1 of the season. Bad news for Jets fans.
I do want to say this real quick, though. It's
Sure.
okay, Brian. Brian's a little late. He apologized. I just want to let you know, Brian, it's absolutely okay. You're here. Better late than never.
who's Brian? Apparently, you know who Brian is. Brian is one of your boys.
No, actually, I don't know Brian. I do see him often in here when we're on the shows and everything.
Oh, very
but
cool.
He commented and said he's late. I just want to let him know, hey, your family, man. It's all right. We're with you.
You missed. The only thing you've really missed is Spence freezing once and me freezing once. So other than that, you haven't missed a whole lot.
We got it together now. We
absolutely got it together now. So do you want to move on to our next topic?
Yeah. So last week, Joe and I were speaking, and he really thinks I'm a Patriots fan. So let me just preface
This is not on the script. This is not on the script.
No, this is not on script. But he thinks I'm a Patriots fan because of my love for Cam Newton and because
unjustified,
I'm just an honest fan.
Unjustified love.
How is it unjustified? Okay, you know what? We're not gonna get to Cam again because I could go all night about Cam. But he also thinks because I'm honest and I say that the Patriots have good players that he thinks that I'm a fan. I'm not. What ended up happening was the conversation led to a point where I said, well, I don't even hate the Patriots as much as I hate the Cowboys. And it spilled over. So I did a poll. And apparently all of Buffalo, or most of Buffalo, seems to hate New England way more than I do.
Sure.
But the question that I wanted to pose, though, is it based on age or is it based on, what is it really based on?
Sure.
So a lot of the comments really gave me the answers that I was looking for. The poll, I know everybody hates New England. I get it. But in the comments, everybody talked about how much they hated Miami from the 70s when they beat us 20 times in a row. There were people that talked about Miami from the 90s when Dan Marino was in the league and he completely, him and Jim were going head to head. Then you had people talk about the Cowboys like me, who, we lost 2 Super Bowls. One guy said, I'll never get over 52-17. And I'm like, so, and then again, you got the Jets in our division as well and the Patriots. So, the question is, and guys in the comments, hit us up and let us know if you participated in the poll. If you didn't participate and you want to share your opinion now, who do you hate the most and why? Like, why would you consider them a rival? I don't consider New England a rival because we haven't been good. We have to beat them. Or we have to, you have to compete to have a rivalry. They just they kicked our ass for the last decade.
Well, I mean, if you're saying that they're not a rival because they own us, but I mean, maybe yes.
No, it can't be a rival.
They're a rival because they're in our division. They're the team that we have to get through to go anywhere. I think what's funny about the whole thing, and I picked on you from the Hump Day Hotline handle.
You always do.
I don't always pick on you. Sometimes you deserve it. But what was funny to me is it showed your age. When you were like the Cowboys, it was Cowboys first for you, and then the Dolphins. And I was like, nope, that's actually backwards. Like it was the Dolphins. So it was the Dolphins in the 70s, right? And that's when the goalpost came down. And I talked about that about a couple months ago, just about the Dolphins owning the Bills, and that's where that hatred began. Like there was this hatred between Buffalo and the Dolphins. And when the Bills finally beat the Dolphins, everybody knows, we've all seen the picture of the goalpost coming down at Rich Stadium at the time. And then, yes, to your point, Dan Marino coming in the league. And there was a very cool rivalry between the Bills and the Dolphins because it was us and them. Like it was literally, I think the rivalry changes. So to your point about it not being a rivalry, I don't want to say that's accurate, but it speaks to something. There's a difference there. So like it was Dan and Jim, right? Dan and Jim. And thank God for us, Jim owned Dan. Like the Bills owned the Dolphins. I mean, even to the point, and a lot of people don't talk about this. So I think it was the third year the Bills went to the Super Bowl, maybe the fourth. We won a wild card, so we did not have home field advantage, and the Bills literally had to go on the road every single game. And then the AFC Championship game was in Miami, and the Bills thumped them. They thumped the Dolphins in the AFC Championship game in Miami because Jim just had Dan's number, and it's even more ironic that like they're best friends. But where I'm going with this is, that was a true rivalry because like there's like I got to get past you or you got to get past me, but either way we're the two big boys on the block and we're fighting all the time to basically get to the next step. The Cowboys, to your point, were just kicking our ass like at the last game of the season. Even during the season, the Bills were beating the Cowboys. Just that last game of the season, the Bills couldn't get past the Cowboys, so there's a weird stigma there. And that's kind of the Patriots side of it. The Patriots just own us. Like it's just, and I had the number, I think it was like 37-3 or 34-3. Like the numbers over the last 20 years are ridiculous. But what's weird to me about the whole rivalry thing, because this is my wheelhouse, the Dolphins and hating the fish. Like I'm the kid, like when I went to high school in Florida, like I made t-shirts that said Dan Marino sucked and like 13 with a big slash through it. Like I remember being like, before the Bills would play the Dolphins on Monday Night Football, it'd be Sunday night and I'd be at home with a white t-shirt making t-shirts to wear to school the next day, talking about the, squish the fish and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was crazy about the Bills back then. And what's weird to me is to learn and discover as a Bills fan, knowing how heated that rivalry was, that the Dolphins consider their greatest rival the Jets. And I just remember being like, the Jets suck. Like, how can it be the Jets? But the Jets and that Dolphins rivalry goes back a little bit farther than the Bills does. So it's just a little strange. So I kind of monologued there on you. I apologize.
No, you're good. I like your voice. I keep telling you that. So I'll listen. But the thing is, like, so
does this
I
help?
get your point about the. But I get your point about when you say it's a division, right? Well, yeah, it's a division rival. But when I talk about in the true spirit of what a rival is, that means that there's some equal punches going back and forth.
Sure,
I just feel like with the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills, at least over the last decade to 17 years technically, but 15 to, let's just say 20 years, the last 20 years, they've had our number. And we've had a couple games here or there where we won. I remember we beat them 38 or something like that, 35-17 or something. And then they beat us with the same score later on in the season. But other than like that, and a couple other games here, like end of the season where they didn't care and they had to start, I think they started Jacoby Brissett and we beat them with Rex at the end of the season. And he was like acting like we won the Super Bowl, So when we beat them on a regular season game, we act like it's the Super Bowl.
Right.
So that's how like they don't look at us as a rival. We look at them as a rival. So it's not a rival. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm talking about like when you play them, it's not we got to get over the hump. It's like this is a rivalry. In Buffalo, I went to City Honors. Hutch Tech was our rivalry. Like there was a thing. Right. We didn't care about Performing Arts because they just didn't have a good basketball team. Like we would beat Performing Arts 85-3, and so that's not a rivalry.
Right. But rivalries also go back to like the must-watch game, the one that everybody's marking on the calendar. So Ohio State and Michigan. Michigan sucks, and Michigan has sucked for a very long time. And Ohio State owns Michigan. It doesn't matter who their coach is. Ohio State right now and for the last 15 years has owned Michigan. So regardless of how bad they're going to thump them, everybody in Columbus, Ohio, and everybody in Michigan, Ann Arbor, circles that game on the calendar. And it's funny because living in Columbus for 13 years, It's weird to live in that town. And this is totally sidebar. And the reason that it's weird is because Super Bowl Sunday, not a big deal. Thanksgiving football, not really a big deal. Michigan, Ohio State, that's the Super Bowl in Columbus.
It's the day. Yep.
Like, and it's funny because it's like I'm going into the game, not even a Buckeye fan, and I'm like, they're going to crush them. Like, they're going to beat them 72-7. Like, what are you worried about? It's like, got to get the chips and the beer. It's just like I don't get it. But for me, the Patriots rivalry, and the best way that I can describe it, and I just use the word rivalry because that's what we're talking about. The Patriots-Bills rivalry is basically we're the annoying kid. And the Patriots are the bully. And I called the Patriots the bully a couple weeks ago on my show. And it's time to push the bully in the dirt, right? So for 20 years, 34-3, I think is the number. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in that 30s range in 3.
You're right.
It's ridiculous. So for 20 years, we are the 7-year-old kid, and they're the 15-year-old, and they're picking on us, like poking us in the ear, like punching us in the face, like don't even care. And there was 3 times where we basically kicked them in the nuts. Right? So it was like we just got a shot in, and that was it. And we ran away really, really fast. And now it's to the point where we are the same height as them. Like we're looking eye to eye with them. If not, maybe we're a little bit taller.
I think we had a growth spurt. I think we're going to be looking down on them this season.
Right. So I mean, literally this is a year to kind of take that mantle back. And I think what's really cool about it, and we can get to your poll here in a second, but what I think what's really cool about it is I think there potentially could be, and I think you and I talked about it a couple weeks ago, a rebirth of sorts in that Bills-Dolphins rivalry, because the Dolphins, as much as I hate the fish, they're kind of building something down there. And, and I'm not, we all love Fitz. We talk about it all the time, but Fitzy's going to Fitz. But Fitz isn't the answer. Clearly they believe that Tua is the answer. I'm not sold on Tua. I don't know that Tua is. My best hope is that Tua amounts to nothing. That like basically he just becomes another one of those guys. Go ahead.
Just so y'all know, Joe is not a good judge of talent when it comes to the quarterback position.
Not true.
I just want to let y'all know that. He knows that Pat Mahomes is awesome. He does know that. He knows that Tom Brady is the GOAT. He does know that. But he does not.
I think Peyton Manning is the GOAT. I don't think Tom Brady's the GOAT. I think Peyton Manning is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Peyton Manning is the smartest quarterback of all time.
I think Peyton Manning is the greatest quarterback. So that's not true, because I'm the guy, and I can bring receipts, bro. Like I'm the guy that said that Marriota and Winston were both busts, 1 and 2. I was like, these guys ain't going to make it in the NFL. And guess what? They didn't, right?
I can't say that. Mariota.
You can't say that.
No, Mariota, I would say he is on the verge of being called a bust, but no, not about Winston.
Mariota got benched last year, and then
he got benched.
I mean, 2 years ago, and then he got traded, right?
2 years ago for Tannehill took his job. So.
Whatever, and now Jameis is a backup. So when you go 1 and 2,
Jameis is a backup in New Orleans, but he just threw 5,000 yards. Like I just don't.
And 100 interceptions.
I understand. He had interceptions, but he also had the same amount of touchdowns.
He didn't have interceptions. He had like 100.
He had just put it like this: if Josh Allen threw for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, y'all would be praising this guy. Like y'all would be so happy.
That's not true. I disagree. Dude, chat us up. So somebody get in here and chat us up.
Chat us up on that. Because everything that Bills fans are asking for is what what Winston did. We just don't want the turnover. But it's literally. Are you kidding me?
No, you said.
I watch people every single day.
Marriota or Winston. Because if Josh Allen comes out in 2021, so 2020, this season, and he throws 5,000 yards, yes. He throws 30 touchdowns, yes. And he throws 30 interceptions, next year, we're looking for a new quarterback. No?
See, I don't think so. I don't think so. Tampa didn't. Well, we don't have to go down the full breakdown of what I think about their team and our team. Yeah, I'll put it up there for yours with I know you got a couple people that will agree with you, so that's fine. But no, I don't think Jameis is a bust. When you look at the fact that listen, the guy, first of all, he's been doing this and he couldn't see. Let's let him see now. He has the LASIK surgery, and as somebody who had the LASIK surgery, let me just tell you. Look, it's a blessing. Okay,
I could be I could be a great quarterback if I could throw. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like, is that what you're telling me?
Elliot's saying the same thing I'm saying. He got LASIK, man.
I don't know what to do with that comment. Like the dude played college football with those eyes. He went to the combine with those eyes. He played 3 or 4 years of football with those eyes. Now all of a sudden, I can't see, so I threw like 100 interceptions. Like I don't even know what we are off topic, but it's fun. So
We're very off topic,
we'll
but
see.
he's not a bust. He's not a bust. I think he's oh wait, somebody just yelled at me, I think. Oh no, somebody was saying something about the Bills being good. So, or are you talking about Miami, Cody? Let us know who you're talking about here.
Yeah. So while Cody is getting back to us, your poll said, "Is our hatred for teams?"
Wait, Breeze, what are you talking about?
Uh-oh.
Mariota has more of a chance as a starter, maybe in Oakland because wasn't it Derek Carr is horrible, but other than that, like, come on, man. No, he's not starting. That guy's not starting anywhere else. He shouldn't
Marcus
start
Mariota?
there.
No, Marcus.
Mariota shouldn't start at all.
To me, and this is like totally. So this is not Bills talk anymore. But you basically
Right.
said that I'm not a very good judge of talent. So again, I was in Columbus, right?
At the quarterback position.
That this is relevant. I was in Columbus, and the bowl game that the championship game that the Buccaneers played, or the Buckeyes played against Marcus Mariota and Oregon. Like the in my opinion, Ohio State exposed him in that game. Like he played in that conference that he played in, made it to, and they were undefeated, I believe, and they went to the championship game against the Buckeyes. And the Buckeyes showed up with NFL linebackers and like owned him and like exposed him. The dude couldn't run away. And to me, that was like all I needed to see. I was like, well, this dude's not going to make it in the NFL because in the NFL, these guys are going to be 4 inches taller, weigh 50 pounds more, and be like 0.3 of a second faster than they are like on the Buckeyes team. So I kind of knew even back then, which is interesting. But what's going on? What do you got? What does Randy Proke say?
Randy says that Winston is also not a good leader. He's very immature, something difficult to change now after 4 years. I don't agree with that.
I don't know how you can say that.
You don't know how he can, how I can say that I don't agree, or that he can say.
No, I don't know how he can just say. I mean, unless he knows him, I don't know how you can just say that he's very
right,
immature.
and I guess that's where I'm gonna go. But now I know earlier before we came on, I said I do not want to do this, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna do it. I feel like black quarterbacks get that label when they show emotion.
Not a good leader?
Hear me. No, the immature, not a good leader, all that stuff. So, for instance, Cam.
Well, you're gonna lump me into a basket, and it's not fair because I've never said he's immature.
No, I didn't say you. I'm talking about this comment here.
Okay.
I'm talking about Randy. I'm not saying you. Calm down. I'm saying, and I'm not saying Randy is saying this because he's black. What I'm saying is, Cam Newton. You look at obviously Winston. We can go back in the past and we can look at quarterback, or even not even just quarterbacks. Look at players. Look at the reputation that OBJ has, and I get that he does things off the field that people question or whatever, but nothing that really makes you question his character as a bad person or as a jerk or anything like that. You don't hear anything out of the locker room from his teammates. Mm-hmm. You've never heard anything negative about Winston from his teammates or Cam or OBJ. But this is the type of narrative that gets going. But when like the stuff that Winston does on the sideline, when Tom Brady does it, it's like, oh my God, this guy's an incredible leader. This guy is so passionate. Why is it that when you get where I'm going, but I didn't want to go here for the conversation.
I get where you're going, but I disagree. And I don't understand, sidebar, why are we live on Twitter? Because it doesn't seem like we're live on Twitter. And last week we were not live on Twitter.
We weren't,
either.
And that was annoying.
Yeah, so
are we set up for that?
Yes, it's telling me we're live on Twitter, but I don't think we are. So I don't agree. And the reason that I would not agree is because I don't think Cam, I think how do I want to say it? Where I would draw the line, right? Because you brought up OBJ. Mm-hmm. And, you're talking about over-emotional quarterbacks or overhyped quarterbacks or quarterbacks that get, I don't remember exactly what you said. I don't want to misquote you, but basically just guys that get excited. I've called Cam a gloater. So when he wins, he gloats. And I've called Cam a poor sport when he loses. He's not even. There's not a whole lot of quarterbacks that live in that space. Like, Cam is pretty much the only one. And you compared him, you did, to OBJ. And when you start comparing him to OBJ, sweet, we are live on Twitter. Thank you. Thank you, Bill's Day. Thank you. When you compared him to OBJ, that opens the door to compare him to other guys like Antonio Brown and people like that. And that's the difference. Because if a wide receiver is overly emotional and does all those things, then he's considered a diva. However, we don't want to use the word diva with Cam. And I think, to me, it has nothing to do with, like,
but they
maturity.
have. They have.
I've never personally heard somebody call Cam a diva. That's just me.
No, I can. When we get off this, I'll send you like 50 links because I'm, I'm a Cam fan. So I mean, like, it's there.
I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but for me, there's just being a student of leadership, it's not a secret. I talk about it on my show. I talk about McDermott. There's something that I want to see from a leader. And a leader for me is a quarterback that when it's going really, really good, is celebrating on the sidelines. There's a difference between a guy that's gloating and when it's going really, really bad is a guy that's picking his team up. And Cam doesn't do that when his team is going when it's going really bad. Like he ends up, like I said, with the towel over his head, kind of off in the corner, sulking a little bit. And I get it. He wants to win. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that like he doesn't have a winning spirit or he doesn't want to win. He absolutely wants to win. He has that winning mentality and that drive inside of him. But at some point in time, as a leader, especially a leader of men, young men, like you have to be the guy that's lifting everybody up around you because there's always a chance. We as Bills fans know there's always a chance. You can always come back. There's no lead. The Bills came back from 38 points or whatever it was in the playoffs. There's no lead that's insurmountable. There's always a chance. With a backup quarterback, right? So there's an aspect of, and keep in mind at the very same time, as much as I want to hear about football, not this play.
And I brought it up because I wanted to apologize, but at the same time, I'm not sorry. This is the platform we have to talk about this stuff. So, so no, we're gonna talk. It's a show.
I'm not talking about the color of anybody's skin. I'm talking about the personality of the person. So, I don't know that we've talked about the color of somebody's skin yet. But
no, I did because I said that, and I wasn't saying that it's a racial thing. What I was saying was when you look back, a lot of times the black quarterbacks that show emotion, they're labeled as immature.
Gotcha.
And when you look at the white quarterbacks, they're not. That was the comment that I made. But I got you.
I want to get to Brian Bowers. But just to finish my statement. So for me, I am at the very same time that I say that I don't like the extremes that Cam finds in winning and losing. I also don't like the Trent Edwards of the world that are like quiet, don't talk, don't get their guys going, and are just like, I just try to be even, and I don't like I just try to lead by example. I've seen that and heard that 100 times. It never works. It never. There has to be a fire there, right? And it has to be infectious, but it has to be controlled at the same time. And that's where I would just leave it. And sometimes Cam doesn't control it as well as me personally I would like. Other people love it. You love it. And that's cool. I'm good with you loving it. We're just going to kick the crap out of him this year, and he's not going to have a good year. So that's just what I think. But go to Brian. What's Brian got for us?
He said, honestly, beating the Patriots without Brady on the team would not have the same satisfaction for me. I wanted to beat Brady bad. That I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
No,
because the thing is now, so even then, so earlier on the show, I mentioned how it's not a rivalry because they kicked our butt for so many years. Now it's kind of like with it not being the same guys there, it's kind of like, well, yeah, we're beating the logo, but are we beating the guy? So now I'm kind of hoping that Tom Brady makes it to the Super Bowl and the Bills do as well, so we can beat them there. That's what I'm hoping for.
Sure. I tried to get to this a couple minutes ago and we got a super chat. And Brian, thank you for that super chat, man. You are the man. And again, for everybody listening, if you want to get basically our attention, throw in a super chat, get it out there. You will get priority over everybody else as far as that goes. But your poll said, is our hatred for teams based on our age? Question mark. In the early 90s, we hated the Cowboys. And you put, then it was Miami. It was actually Miami, then the Cowboys. That's fine. Last 2 decades, it's been the Patriots. Vote and tell me why you hate your choice over the others. 68% said they hate the Patriots, which was crazy. And to your point, in the group chat, the Fanatics group chat that we have on the staff, it's crazy how much like the Cowboys, Jets, and the Dolphins, 10% each. And then like it was overwhelmingly the Patriots. Like, but I would love to know what teams people hate and why. Because like for me, there's certain teams growing up a kid that the Bills couldn't beat. I hate the Steelers. I hate the Steelers and I hate the Chiefs because every single freaking time the Bills would be crushing the world 11-0. We'd be lined up against the Chiefs on Monday Night Football and the Chiefs would crush us 33-3. Like there's certain teams out there that I just can't stand. Chiefs and the Steelers being two of them because the Bills just couldn't get past them. Now, playoffs, it didn't matter, but like during the season, there was just a measure of being embarrassed on like primetime football for me. So I'd love to know for those of you that are out there, like who are your most hated Bills, not rivals, but Bills opponents and why? Yeah. So what's Big Tim say?
For me, it was it was just the Cowboys and then it was the Jets, but that's because obviously, like you said, it's showing age, but one of the things is, so after the Bills kind of got to a space where they weren't good anymore. My favorite player, for obvious reasons, was Chad Pennington at that point. And so
I remember you telling me that.
Once he left the Jets, he left the Jets. So then I didn't like the Jets after that, obviously. So then that's when I had to hate them. So that's when the Jets came.
You are a purple unicorn.
My last name is Pennington. How do you not like the guy with the same last name as you?
Jersey for life. I don't like any player on the Dolphins, the Patriots, or the Jets. So much so that I've played fantasy football since 1996, and I don't pick a single player from the Patriots, the Dolphins, or the Jets.
I still don't do that. I won't draft anybody. I still won't do that because we play them twice a year. It's not out of the hate. It's more so we play them twice a year, so I don't want to be conflicted when it's like, oh, do I want Le'Veon Bell to have a crazy game and score 3 touchdowns, or do I want us to destroy the Jets?
All right, we're in a fantasy football league. You invited me to your league, so it's round 6. You don't have a quarterback yet. Cam's available. You taking him?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Are
you kidding me? Heck yeah. No, Cam is my guy, man. Like, come on, let's not do this.
I hope you do take him.
I'm drafting Cam anyway. No, I'm taking him anyway.
You can go down on that.
It's a super flex, so we can actually put 2 quarterbacks in at one time. I might just do that and let Cam ride out every week with Josh.
Well, you got to draft Josh first.
I'm gonna draft him first round. I'm gonna draft him first round. MVP, baby. MVP, baby.
Listen, as fantasy football quarterbacks go, Josh is worthy of being drafted high. He's a fantasy like point getter. That's what he is. But so I can't expect him, especially in a Bills league or a Buffalo league. I can't expect him to last. But yeah, it'll probably be a race to see who gets Josh Allen. But yeah. Anyway,
Big Tim is saying he never saw McNabb as a poor leader.
There were times
for
in
most of his career.
Press
I was
conferences.
about to say. Yeah, there was a lot of times that he did get negative feedback again, and it all came from it. Actually, even after he retired, there were some things that came out where they kind of questioned who he was as a leader, just based on the stories that came out of the locker room and stuff.
But I think
it's teammates that speak negatively about him.
But I think it's the difference between because a quarterback is a leader in 3 places. Well, probably 4. So there's the example, right? So a quarterback is a leader in the sense of the way he leads in study, in film room, in being prepared, in knowing the playbook better than everybody else, knowing where everybody's supposed to be. He's a leader, so in the locker room, leader, and then he's a leader, obviously, in the locker room itself amongst the guys. He's also a leader on the field, and then he's a leader, at the press at the podium. And let's be honest, Jim Kelly wasn't always the greatest leader at the podium either. So as we're talking about it, it is what it is. So
we don't need to talk about the conversation we had about Jim Kelly the other day, but we'll leave that alone. Let's see.
I got secrets.
Let's see. Cody says, I hope Cam does well. I used to love watching him destroy people, but now he's on New England. I want to see him do okay. I want to see him go like 8-8. Don't want him doing good and challenging us.
Cody, you want more than I want. I don't want to see him go 8-8. I want to see him go 0-16. And for everybody listening, so we've gotten 12 likes or 12 some sort of responses. I'm supposed to tell you to smash that like, whatever that means. So I'm not up with the hip terms, but smash that like.
It's hump day. Hump that like. We got to change that graphic for this show, man. We got to hump the like. What you talking?
Oh my gosh, he went there.
Can we say that?
Smash that like. Smash that like. It is the Hump Day Hotline. That's funny. Yeah, the bickering Bill. Steven's on it. That's right.
That was where Jim wasn't a good leader. So again, but have you ever heard, especially out of Buffalo, have you ever heard Jim Kelly isn't a good leader? Like he's not.
Right.
No, we talk about him in the sense that he's a Super Bowl making, not winning. He made it to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He led the case. Look, he innovated or helped to be very innovative as far as the offense. So I get it. We love him. But there were times he wasn't a good leader. That label was never on him. So that was my point. I promise you guys, Joe and I, we don't want to do any of the political, racial, none of that stuff. Yeah. But if it's relevant to the conversation, we're going to have it, guys. So sorry. It's not, we're not going to be heavy on it.
And the interesting thing about the bickering Bills is as much as Jim, and you just recently interviewed Patricia Thomas, Thurman's wife.
Yeah.
The bickering Bills was about Thurman and Jim not really getting along, and Vic Carucci kind of being in the middle of it and kind of like stoking the fire. And that's where Thurman came out and basically told Vic, I think, to shove it or to keep his mouth shut. But that in the end bonded that team. So that was early. That was really early. So that was like late 80s before like the team became the team, and Jim kind of rounded out and became the leader that Jim became. So when we talk about Jim being a leader, and specifically me, Jim elevated the play of the players around him, like on the field. Like Jim was the general. Everybody knew it. Jim, he didn't have the arm talent that Dan Marino had. He didn't have the arm talent that John Elway or Joe Montana had. He was just the general on the field, and he was going to win at all costs, and he basically willed his team to win a lot. Now, he got help, sure. It's a team sport. But yeah, that bickering Bills thing was early, but that's literally what we're talking about. So go ahead, Elliot.
Elliot says, to be fair, Jim Kelly's dirty laundry has been well aired out within the Buffalo community at least. And that's true. No, it's very true. But
for sure.
Again, the level of the willingness of forgiveness for certain players over others is different. And so let me bring this up. There's two different levels of players, but this is why I brought up that example. We look at somebody like Mike Vick. All right. Somebody brought him up in the comments earlier. People still don't want him to have a job. He's retired and he wanted to be on FS1, and there's people protesting FS1 because he's a commentator there.
Right.
Again, his dirty laundry is, we love Jim. Nobody ever talks anything negatively about Jim. I heard some real bad stories that if it happened today, he would have been canceled. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, what are we really, let's move on, but I'm just saying, it's not, Cody again says Josh Allen was putting words of a song on Twitter from what he was told because somebody mentioned, what about Josh Allen making it? I think that wasn't as bad as people were trying to make it. I tweet lyrics and songs all the time. At some point in time, and it may never die. At some point in time, the reality is, and I'm going to tie it all together. Ed Oliver's what, 23, 22? Yeah, something like that. Weaving all over the highway. Who knows why? Maybe he was tired, or I don't know. Was he parked someplace? I don't know what it was. Somebody called the police. Like I said, it was a woman. I think it was Sam Darnold that called the police on him, basically to get him pulled over. But he was 23 years old, 22 years old, and who knows? Maybe he was speeding. Maybe he was goofing around. Who gives a crap? Josh Allen. What is your beef with Sam Darnold, man? Oh, he's a girl. He's Go a ahead, girl. Josh Allen was freaking 14 years old. Yeah, dude. If I could tell you the crap that I was pulling when I was 14 years old, and the things that I was saying, dude, I was listening to, I've always been a huge stand-up comedy fan, and the comics that I would listen to, and back then comedy, stand-up comedy was all about stereotypes and race and things like that, and the things that I would repeat, thank God this stuff didn't exist when I was 14 years old. I mean, I'm having a hard enough time keeping myself out of trouble now at 47. How many times do I send you something and I'm like, is this okay for me to tweet? Very true. I just want to, and the funny part about it is I don't, if I get canceled from Buffalo Fanatics, I don't want to say I don't care, but that doesn't matter to me as much as being canceled from real life, because hello, this isn't real life for me. So there's an aspect of I just want to protect my family. I want to protect me, but I'm guilty of saying stupid things. And I've quoted lyrics, not racial lyrics, but he was freaking 14 years old. Let it go. Well, I'm gonna be honest though too. Okay, I go to concerts. I love music. Anybody who follows me knows how much of a music head I am. So every Jay-Z concert that I've gone to, I can guarantee you the majority of the people at the Jay-Z concert is white. Right. And it's every single one of his songs has a word in there that a lot of black people feel like white people shouldn't say. Sure, but guess what? It's in the song, and we're singing lyrics. We're rapping. Along. So, I'm not at all ever saying that it's okay. I'm not that person that's making that. No. But what I'm saying is we can't say it's okay for a group of people, like a trillion people in a concert. And then when a 14-year-old boy does it on Twitter, you got to have the same standard for everybody. Sure. So if I'm going to be mad at the whole concert, I got to be mad at Josh too, and vice versa. So yeah, but moving on. Let's switch topics a little bit. I want to get a little bit lighter. Well, this isn't going to be light, but first, hit that help the YouTube algorithm. Mm-hmm. Indeed, and like I said, if there's a team out there that you hate, I would love to know who it is and why. Why do you hate XYZ team? There's got to be a reason, and it could be because of a player. It could be because they've beaten the Bills, or there was a game that they beat the Bills. But I'd love to know just from you guys out there. So if you're listening to us, let us know who you hate and why. What you got? Well, we got if we don't make the playoffs this year, Josh Allen has to go. I'm sorry, but we have better roster than last year, so we got to do way better. Do you want to respond to that? How do you feel about that? I do, but I want you to respond first.
So I think I'm on record. I think I've made it pretty clear how I feel. I mean, for me, if Josh Allen, regresses, right? I guess that's the word that we're talking about. If it doesn't go well, depending on what that regression looks like with the team that Bean has put around him, and the continuity in the offense, and then obviously Dable coming back as well. I definitely think there's a competition going into next year. So whether the Bills are out and they're drafting a quarterback or they've got somebody coming in, like, how weird would it be for it to be Andy Dalton, who, let's be honest for a second, I donated to Andy Dalton's foundation when the whole touchdown happened that sent the Bills to the playoffs, but that was the first time I was at the game this past season when the Bengals came to town. Andy Dalton came out for a special victory lap, and the 80,000 people, 72,000 people on their feet cheering for Andy Dalton, the opposing team's quarterback. Like, I have never, ever seen the Bills. Ever. The only other time I've seen the Bills fans cheer for an opposing player, and this is the truth, ironically enough, Bengals, was Takeo Spikes. And it was when Takeo was becoming a free agent, and Bills fans were losing their minds and telling him, come to Buffalo. We love you. Come to Buffalo. Come to Buffalo. And even he remarked about it. So, like, how weird would it be if Josh Allen does regress this year and the team does not succeed? So they come out 5-11 or 6-10, and his numbers are not good, and it's clearly with the team around him, he's the problem. First of all, Dable's gone. Dable's fired. Like, he's gone. But now you're talking about competition, and that competition is not going to be Jake Fromm with this team. That competition is absolutely going to be more than likely a free agent, which could be Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton, some of these guys on a one-year contract, or whoever is potentially available next year. So what are your thoughts?
I agree with the statement that if we don't make the playoffs, barring injury, obviously, like depending on if certain people get hurt or something like that, God forbid, and we don't make the playoffs because the talent around Josh isn't good anymore, then obviously. But if we're all healthy and we don't make the playoffs, absolutely, I agree with you. There's no reason why we have a true number one wide receiver. We have our second wide receiver is like he's not a true one, but he's like a 1A, so right. Or a 1B, I should say. We have that talent. We have Cole Beasley with that type of offense. If the offense isn't more, I don't want to call it high powered, it's not going to be Kansas City. Mm-hmm. But if we're halfway in between what Kansas City and what Buffalo was last year, I'll be happy. Like you got to have some. We got to make it. If we don't make it, man, it's offense and defense. You got to blow the whole thing up at that point.
Here's an interesting question: is it playoffs or bust? What if Josh Allen? And I raised a question last week that just kind of came to my mind, which was the question last week was, what if Josh Allen has a killer season, MVP-esque season, or wins the MVP? Is there a concern the following year as to whether or not he can follow it up? This is my question this week for you. What if is it playoffs or bust? So what if the Bills go 12-4 or 11-5, but the Dolphins also go 11-5 and have beaten us twice, have the tiebreaker over us, and crazy. I guess 11-5 is probably maybe 10-6. We'll call it 10-6 because 10-6 is probably more of an accurate number. So 10-6. Dolphins have the tiebreaker over us. Josh Allen throws 4,200 yards, 32 touchdowns, 12 interceptions or something like that. So the Bills don't make the playoffs, but Josh has a good year. Where are we now? Is it playoffs or bust, or is it like no?
I'm moving on because in my mind at that we shouldn't be losing. I'm being honest. If we don't make the playoffs at this point, if we don't make the playoffs, there's no reason why Miami should beat us twice. If they have the tiebreaker over us, we got to switch some stuff. Miami's good. Like, they're better than they were.
Well,
but there's no reason why.
What would it take for Miami to have the tiebreaker? Do you know what it would take for them to have the tiebreaker over us?
I mean, obviously, the first natural one is they beat us twice. Right. Or, depending on the conference record and all that stuff. So
head-to-head
what I'm saying is, if regardless of what it is, if they make the playoffs and we don't, we got to switch it up.
I just don't know if we're talking about a quarterback that is clearly a project. I mean, it's well documented how much of a project Josh Allen was coming in, and if he takes all those steps and even surpasses the steps that me and when I talk with Greg Thompson and I've heard Bruce Nolan talk about, and like these guys, like Greg Thompson thinks like a great year for Josh is 3,700 yards, 3,750. If he throws 4,200 yards, 30 something touchdowns, and like the Bills don't make the playoffs, and he's like taking that next step. I don't know how you move on. Like does anybody have an opinion about this? Somebody
impossible though. No, if the offense is that high powered without that many turnovers, and our defense is anywhere close to last year, it's impossible for us not to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Lead Lucas's comment up, because Lucas Malabar, and I think I pronounced that right. So I love this. We have been having a conversation, and literally the conversation inside of the Bills Fanatics or the Buffalo Fanatics staff chat was, who would you take over Josh Allen? And I'm not gonna give names. I'm not gonna give stuff away. But there was people that said stuff, and I literally typed, "You're dead to me," like, just because I was like, I can't believe that's who you would take over Josh Allen right now. But that's a great point. Really hope Josh is the guy. I wonder if Green Bay would be interested in moving on from Rodgers after next season. So if there's a regression year, my God, give me Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't care what you got to spend. Go get me Aaron Rodgers, like, tomorrow, right? Like, if there's a short list of guys I'm taking over Josh Allen today, Aaron Rodgers is on that list. Yes, no, maybe? Is it just
one
me?
season, yeah.
How about for 5? I'll take him for 5. Give me Aaron Rodgers for 5.
No, give me Russell Wilson.
You're not getting Russell Wilson. Come on.
I'm just telling you. I don't. Well, you're bringing up. I don't want.
This is not a hypothetical.
I don't want Aaron Rodgers.
This is not a hypothetical as much as it's a possibility. This is probable. Like Lucas brings up a point. Like, this is probable. Like, this is a possibility.
He does. I don't.
We ain't getting Russell Wilson. That ain't happening.
No, we're not. It would be lovely if we did.
Lovely. That's funny. So we got about 5 minutes left before we
I'll tell you what, real quick, before he hangs up on everybody, in the chat, was it the Kyler Murray one that you said was dead to you, or was it which quarterback? Dude, I'm not gonna say who.
There were. I'm going to use the term mofos. There were people in there talking. Mofos in there saying they'd take Joe Burrow over Josh Allen right now, and I'm just like,
Joe Burrow's trash.
I'm like, you're dead to me.
And I'm saying that on the record. He's not going to play as well as y'all think he is. So if y'all draft him in y'all fantasy league, I feel bad for you.
Well, somehow he put A.J. Green in the top 10 wide receivers for 2020. Joe Burrow did. Like, A.J. Green, that didn't play football last year, is now suddenly in the top 10 wide receivers for 2020. It's like, I don't think so.
Joe.
I can't respond to that.
I'm leaving.
Well, it's now a solo show. The Hump Day Hotline with your host, Joe Miller, the voice of the Overreaction Podcast.
Who said that? What are you talking about? What
What I was going to say is we had 5 minutes left, and we can hang on a little bit longer. I'm in no rush. But you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. So again, if you're interested in getting a question in for us, if you want to talk with us, chat with us, we got 120 people up in this mug. If you want to get in, super chat us right now. I don't care if it's 50 cents or a buck. Throw something in there. Get your opinion out here. Tell us who you love, who you don't like, why you don't like them. Talk to us about Josh Allen. If you got questions, throw us questions. Like, this is just fun stuff. Let's have a good time. So Joe Burrow, only quarterback I believed in out of college. Maybe not immediate success, but he's going to be good. For me, I'm not on the same wavelength that Spence is on.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow stands tall in the pocket. He's got great pocket presence, great pocket awareness, and he sees the field. I'm not here to tell you as to whether or not he's a quarter field reader, half field reader, or whole field reader. I don't know. I'm just telling you from what I see, he stands in the pocket and looks like a professional quarterback. He is not Andrew Luck. I remember the first time I saw Andrew Luck play football, and I was like, put that guy in an NFL team right now. Like, that dude was ready for the NFL. Joe Burrow, it'll be interesting to see. There's guys that have come out like him. I don't know that I've got a comparison. Maybe Ryan Tannehill as far as in college. Burrow had the luxury of being on a good team down there in LSU. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. The bad news is I don't know that his head coach is that good. I don't know that the team around him is that good. It'll be interesting to kind of see where that goes. And you're scowling at me, so I apologize.
No, not at you. I'm looking at the comments still, but I don't think. And I was joking. I don't think Joe Burrow's trash.
Abe,
but,
by the way, time out. Abe Froman.
He's trolling.
Time out. Abe Froman is the best name I've seen. Do you know what that's from?
I don't.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Abe Froman. That is a magical name. So kudos to Abe Froman.
It's a dope name. But the other guy, not Abe, the other guy who we just quoted, he's trolling because he just said that
Russell Wilson.
He just said that Pat Mahomes was trash too. That he said. He said he's a bum. Yeah, these guys are just.
No, that's somebody different. That's somebody different.
Okay, well, back to this though. I think Joe Burrow, he's decent. The thing is, I just don't believe in him out of college because so last year, yeah, he had that phenomenal year. Like he broke whatever records and he was, but the year before that, what did he do with less talent? So my thing is, you're coming into the league and it's not the year before.
Did he start the year before? I don't know that he started the year before. Did he? I could be wrong. I don't know.
Let us know in the comments, guys. But but what I'm saying is, I just remember him playing with less talent. And the less talent that was around him, he didn't look the same when he played. And so I just don't see him going to the team that had the number 1 pick in the draft and all of a sudden making them a playoff team. I just don't see it. But we got RD706 that said, "What up, y'all? I also think that Ed Oliver should have still been suspended. Just saying."
You want to give me a reason why somebody?
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to re-comment again and tell us why.
RD706, tell me why a guy who did not break the law should be suspended, who at this point was falsely arrested, as per the evidence. I'll wait. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah.
So if you want to get to typing, let me know.
Me and Chris are on the same page in the chat. I actually said this year that I think Tua is the best quarterback in the draft. I think that if he didn't have that hip injury, man, that guy, there's no question he would have been the number 1 overall pick.
But you can't say that. You can't say if he didn't.
I'm saying he would have been the pick. Right, he did. I'm saying if he didn't have it, he would have been the number 1 pick. I still think he's healthy, and I think he'll be the best quarterback out this draft, regardless.
There's one man in the history of the NFL that you could argue could be a Hall of Famer based on the potential that he never saw, which was Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson had the same hip injury, and his career was ended. The fact is, he had the injury. I don't know what to expect from Tua. But we'll see. Did RD706 respond yet? You got to back that comment up, bro. Don't come at me with a comment like that and then not back it up.
I need to, we need you to respond to that one. We definitely do. I want to see Josh Allen take the shots Burrow took at LSU. So you guys know who is a Burrow fan in the chat, just so you know. just so you know, Steve is in here.
You're still dead to me. So you're still dead to me.
Oh no, I'm not. Sorry, we're gonna move on there. No, because we already got yelled at. I don't want to go there. Let's see. Totally agree. Not taking Burrow in fantasy might have an Andy Dalton career in the NFL is a huge jump, and I don't see him. Yeah, I agree. I don't see him being a bust at all. But I just don't see him being. But you know what? Actually, Andy Dalton's a good comparison for me. I think that's the type of career he'll have. He's gonna be a consistent. He's going to give you 250, maybe 300 yards. He'll have good games. The team isn't good. They're not going to win. He has AJ Green to throw it to. So AJ Green is a beast. He's going to have numbers.
Yeah, but let's talk about it. I mean, Zach Taylor, their head coach, is not exactly a dumb guy, right? He's smart. So Zach Taylor is an offensive genius or an offensive guru, right? Agreed? That's why he got the job. Who's to say that he isn't going to do the very same thing that all of you Kyler Murray lovers talk about, which is basically have Joe Burrow come out and lead the league next year in screen passes and checkdowns. I know that Joe Burrow's got the long ball. He was very successful. He also had great wideouts to help him. However, Joe Burrow could have a great year. Couldn't Joe Burrow come out and do the very same thing? Just check the ball down the whole time and end up with 4,000 yards that way?
I'm trying to figure out why you're why you're hating so much on Kyler Murray. I just don't, understand that.
So for those of you that need context, the two quarterbacks that were being talked about in the chat was Kyler Murray and Joe Burrow. So that's why. And basically what I was told in that chat was Kyler Murray's the man because did you see him? I was like, yeah, I saw him throw checkdowns a lot. I saw him throw screen passes a whole bunch, but his offensive line, but his this and that. And I was like, and then they were trying to compare him to Josh Allen. And I was like, Josh Allen has never thrown to anybody the likes of Larry Fitzgerald. Never in his life thrown to anybody the likes of Larry Fitzgerald. Like a dude,
not many people have though.
A dude with a glue stick on his hands.
But not many people have.
Yeah, but you put Larry Fitzgerald in the Buffalo Bills year 1 and year 2, and his completion percentage isn't as low as it is. Right or wrong?
True. No, 100%.
Very true. 100%. Yeah. Exactly. What's next? Super chat. Joshua Barrett.
Yeah. Josh said he's talking. So we're still talking about Steve. He said he figures that he likes Burrow.
Dude, if we could get some cross-show hate, in the sense of people that listen to the Bills guys and pick up on their tendencies and then bring it to our show and slam the Bills guys, that'd be fun.
Yeah, it would. Malik says, with no preseason games, how much of an advantage or disadvantage do you believe the Bills will have?
Ooh, this is a
I think
great Malik.
it
This is
is.
a
It's a
great
great
topic.
question.
This is a
It's a
great
great question.
topic.
And if you listen to the code of conduct today, you would actually hear me talk about it with Sterling. We talk about how first with the continuity that we have, the coaching staff is the same. We did bring in some players through free agency and obviously our draft class, but for the most part, our free agents are familiar with McDermott already for the most part. And then it's just continuity. So really, we're walking into the season with the same players. So it's kind of like, just look at it like an extended year. These guys they have the playbook, they know it. So I think actually out of all the other teams in the league, we have the most the most players returning. So honestly, I think that it should benefit us the most. It should.
Super good. And two things. First of all, there's 105 people watching this right now. So all of you smash that like right now. Just get in there and smash that like. We need help. Again, just like Malik just did, super chatters get priority. This is what I would say. So I had Greg Thompson from Cover One on my show last week, right? Was it last week? And I brought this up for Greg. What is no preseason? So a week ago, we were predicting at that point that there was going to be no preseason. And I asked Greg, hey, if there's no preseason, what are we talking about the first 4 to 5 weeks of the NFL? What does that look like? Because we already know. And he agreed, like, very much to this point. Defenses always come in ahead of offenses. Always come in. And that's what the preseason is for, is because defense, when you think about defense is very much, as much as they play schemes, as much as they have plans, as much as there's a philosophy, it's very much a roamer type situation. Defenses don't have to be set. Defense is basically just to get to free float and kind of hold your position, do your job, right? To Bill Belichick's point, do your job and everything will come together. Hold your ground. Offense is a completely different animal. Like offense, like the whole being set, running routes. I remember back when Losman was quarterback and trying to dive into like why they were having so much problems back then. And it's, when a quarterback comes to the line and he's reading the defense, like based on the play that's called, he has to assume what the routes the wide receiver is going to read or going to run based on the defense that the receiver's watching. So I'm the quarterback and I'm looking at the defense and I'm making an assumption to what he's going to run, and he's looking at the same defense, and we have to be on the same page. So there's an aspect to that point about defenses being ahead of offenses. Not to mention you throw into there every single year, the first 4 to 5 games, there's pretenders. There's teams that come out with a gimmick or something and they win a couple games and then they get taken over. So that lack of preseason is going to affect I think personally it's going to make or break a couple playoff teams this year. The lack of preseason. It's going to be that big of a deal for me. Rex, Absolutely. What you got for me, Rex?
He said he loves Bill's Mafia, but in the parking lots is where he loves them. But a lot of them are. He's saying they crazy. Y'all got issues in the comments, and he's right.
I'm not even looking, dude. I'm not even in them. Like,
but hey, Elliot, I'm with you. Dry hump that like.
I need the Rico bell. Ding, ding, ding. Dry hump that like. Dry hump that like.
We're at Rico to send that to us.
So we still have 105 people watching, and we went from 12 to 15 likes. What's wrong with you people? Like this thing. Like I'm not hanging up until we get to 20. Give me 5 likes right now, and I'll hang up. And we'll
I want to go back to this though, because you wanted to respond to this.
All right, here we go.
So apparently we think he was drunk and. He was drunk and driving. He could have killed somebody. And also, I'm not hating on Ed Oliver. I'm just saying that you need to take responsibility. Okay, so first, I'll let Joe do it.
Okay, so Artie, first of all, mad respect. Artie, you're a big listener of my show, and you retweet, and you like my stuff, and you comment on my stuff all the time. So mad respect for you, bro. This is the problem with your comment. They pulled him out of his car, or out of his truck. They gave him a field sobriety test. They arrested him, put him in a car, drove him to the station, and then he took a breathalyzer. He blew a 0.00. So to your point, he wasn't drunk
at all.
They pulled him over, pulled him out of his truck, gave him a field sobriety test, which you can see. There's video footage out there of him getting his field sobriety test. Arrested him, took him to the station. Had him do a breathalyzer test, 0.00. He was not drunk. So that's the problem with the whole conversation right there, which and all the other stuff tails onto it. So the weapons charge and all that stuff goes away at that point because it's not illegal, as we started the show with, to just have a gun in Texas. It's not illegal.
My man John Roberts thinks that our defense will carry us through the first 4 games. So he thinks that we're going to be 4-0 by week 5, and hopefully the offense is firing on all cylinders. And that's all she wrote. I agree. And that's what I'm hoping for. I think actually back on the Overreaction podcast about 2 months ago, we did our predictions for the season, and we both started off the season going 4-0. And we really had the same commentary. So we definitely agree with you, John.
We have a very unique luxury, and we're still at 15 likes. For the love of God, if 5 people don't like this thing.
Well, no, Abe says it was 21st like on his screen like 15 minutes ago.
Oh, never mind. Well, then I don't know what I'm seeing up here. So apparently the provider that puts us live is lying to me. So anyways, yes. So to that point, the defense, we are in a very luxurious situation in not only continuity, but returning that defense. That defense is going to hold us in games, while the offense, which shouldn't have a ton of problems, finding its way. The only, I would love to hear your comment on this, Jay. The only potential issue that the offense is going to have is if they've opened up the playbook a little more. So whatever they gave us before or whatever we've had in the past, like have we gotten the next chapter or 2, right? So there's new concepts and there's new routes and there's new things that we're doing. So does that make sense? So thoughts on that?
No, I agree with you. Actually, this is one of the only times that I'll say I agree with literally everything you said, and I don't have anything to add to it. I'm just saying, I actually agree with you. And Cody, again, thanks, man.
Cody,
he said that we need to stay on
it.
A little longer, talking Bills content. He loves it. Smash the like button. No, hump that like button.
Dry hump the like button.
But he said his screen only shows 7 likes as well. So come on, guys, like that. Come on, let's hit that like button. Hump it for us.
Keep them coming. You guys are providing. So just so everybody knows, the Hump Day Hotline was about when we got approached and asked to do a show. We wanted to provide a show to you guys, the fans, where literally it was about fan interaction. And I'll be honest with you, we're having conversations, Jay Spence and I, of trying to figure out how to facilitate that even still. Like, do we give them some news and then open it up? Do we give them some news and then like provide them topics, or do we just let them run the show? We want you guys to be a part of this thing. Like I appreciate, and I know Jay Spence does as well, just how much you guys pay, listen to our shows, retweet our shows, interact with us, and nobody gets more interaction than Jay Spence does. I cannot believe, I'm jealous, super jealous, because dude, it's true. I feel like I'm like all over Twitter. Like I blow Twitter up, especially when my pod drops. You like put out some crazy poll and like 94 people respond. It's like, what in the world? Like, what am I doing wrong? So yeah. Anyways,
no, well, thank you, I guess, but I don't see. I wish I had more interaction. Like honestly, I feel like
Big Tim, if you're a big fan, Big Tim, I'm a big fan of you. So go ahead.
Yeah, we love Big Tim. Are you on Big Tim? If you're on Twitter, man, at me so I can follow you.
Yeah, same.
I appreciate you.
Same.
Actually, all you guys on here, and if there's any ladies in the room too, I don't want to be excluding the ladies, but if there's anybody in here that is on Twitter who I'm not following or I don't interact with, please at me. When we get done with these comments, our names will pop back up so you can follow us. I would love to be able to talk to you every day on Twitter.
What's weird is they're not showing up. Like, that's what I don't understand. So, like, my handle on Twitter is @JoeMillerWired, and they're supposed to show up right underneath us, and they were earlier. And this is our second time doing this. And basically, Mom and Dad gave us the keys to the car and then said, "Have fun."
Like, go ahead.
Go have some fun, kids. And, so we don't really know how to run this thing. So, @JoeMillerWired, and then @JSpenceTheKing. If you're not following us on Twitter, please do so. Smash that like. Keep smashing that like, and super chatters always get priority. But I'm good with hanging around for a couple more minutes. So we're at an hour.
We can hang out. I got a couple more questions.
Hour and 13 minutes. My daughter wants to take a shower, but she can wait. She doesn't need to take a shower.
John again says, I can't wait to see how we match up against Kansas City. If we beat Kansas early, we'll have confidence to finish very strong. I agree.
Dude, again, I said it that same show that same show you referenced, Jay. Like literally, that's what I said. I said that's the bar. Like we're gonna find out who this Bills team is at that game, and if the Bills come in and they're competitive, we're gonna know something. If the Bills come in and lay an egg, we're gonna know something. And if they come in and beat the Kansas City Chiefs in primetime football.
Well, I'll tell you what, win or lose, I said this on your show, that same show we're referencing. Win or lose, I think that's going to be like a statement game for Josh. even if we lose, hear what I'm saying. Like, I know a loss is a loss, and it's like that looks bad. But I think his performance. Remember a couple of years ago, I think it was maybe about 4 years ago now, and the Bills played the Seahawks on Monday Night Football, and Tyrod actually had a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's gonna.
He had a lot of good games.
Well, no, when I say actually, I mean it in the sense of like he had a game. He threw for 300 yards. Like he had a game where he was competing with one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. So that what I'm saying is Josh is going to be going up against Pat Mahomes, and he's going to show the entire league, the entire world, like he did on Thanksgiving, that he can go throw for throw with these guys like that. What's up?
I'm going to flip the script on you. Statement game for Josh Allen. I think it's a statement game for the defense.
I agree because
if the Bills shut down Pat Mahomes, and this is last year they were number 2 in the league, pass defense, and they're returning that whole defense, and they've got Josh Norman now.
But last year, and this was an argument I made, or a lot of people were like killing me for it. I feel like we were number 2 in the league last year, but how many of the top quarterbacks that we faced frequently? You know what I'm saying? So, because remember, when we did play Pittsburgh, Ben was injured. He didn't play Ben. When we played
Duck Hodges. Do you remember all the freaking hype before that game about Duck Hodges?
I'm like, come on, it's Duck. Like his name is Duck. Come on, like let's not. But then, I mean, let's think about other games too. Like you can go back and think about every single. There was a bunch of games where we missed the quarterback.
Wasn't there? There was a meme. There was a meme about doors, like of all the quarterbacks that the Bills had benched through the season. Like,
and then when we played against New York, or New Jersey Giants, not that I think Daniel Jones would have beat us or anything, but we benched Eli. Like that was Eli's last game for his career. So,
and they brought in Eli Jr.
Yeah. So again, we're facing people. We had Sam Darnold who just contracted week 1. They claim, I think we beat him, whatever. But they claim that, he contracted mono at that point and he was feeling the effects and whatever.
The same Sam Darnold that called the cops on at Oliver? Same Sam Darnold? Did you see the video of Sam Darnold and Josh Allen throwing their last throw? And like Josh is like no problem. And then Sam is like all hips and all legs and like all arm just to get it to go as far as Josh Allen threw the football.
Josh is a beast, man. I want to see that. I want to see that throwing contest between him and Pat. I really want to see it.
They're priming the pump. It ain't gonna happen. So.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen. Abe is he's right. The Bills did shut down. Well, no, I can't even.
Abe Froman.
They didn't shut down. They didn't score. So in that sense, yeah, they shut him down. But they moved pretty well, especially that first quarter. The running game. The thing that the Bills have to improve in for me is the running defense. That first quarter, the first half, in a lot of games. They were giving up big runs. Adrian Peterson destroyed us in that first half against Washington. Saquon Barkley, first quarter, destroyed us.
Killed us.
The first game, Le'Veon Bell didn't have a big running day, but he had a big game. He had a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, if I'm not mistaken. So we did the defense did kind of do well against the passing attack, but we got to do better against that run too. So it's going to be a big test. Kansas City drafted a good running back. I know the name wasn't one of the top 2 or 3 guys that you normally hear about. That running attack now, Kansas City they don't have Shady back there next year. They have.
He wasn't there last year.
He wasn't. They got a beast back there now. They got a beast. I'm telling you. So those wide receivers, Tyreek Hill is still Tyreek Hill, whether you like him or not for whatever reasons. Whether you like Sammy last year, I'll tell you what, Sammy did a good job in the Super Bowl. He did well in the playoffs. He performs when he's not injured. That's a completely different type of offense than the Bills faced last year. The Cowboys didn't look like that.
He's also currently being probed by aliens, but that's a whole other conversation. So why are you looking
guys, just stop smoking weed, man. Go ahead.
While you're looking for that is a big old super chat. We're gonna come right, I'll come back to what I was gonna say. So give it to us. Let's go. Oh, it's just simply let's go Bills. Keep it up, guys. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was it.
That was amazing. So real quick, for those of you that are looking for Buffalo Fanatics apparel, whether it's this right here that you see behind us, Buffalo versus everybody, or that logo shirt, or there's a bunch of stuff. We got a whole bunch of stuff on bffanshop.com. Head over there, put in Hump Day. You will get 10% off of everything that you order. So yeah, just doing a little bit of homework there. House cleaning. So what you got?
My man Elliot said that it's one of the few times he tuned in for First Take and Stephen A. after we beat the Cowboys. Yeah, I can't listen to Stephen A. too often either because he annoys me, but I wanted to hear him talk about Josh and rub it in the Cowboys' face. I did.
Dude, what is up with who's the other guy? Not Stephen A., but the other dude. It's the big Cowboys
guy with
fan.
him, Max?
No, the other guy that used to be with him.
Skip.
Oh my God, what is with Skip and like shirtless pictures on social media? Like, what is going on?
Well,
with
he's
that
in
guy?
shape. If I get Skip's age and I look like that, I'm taking pictures with no shirt too. I'm just telling you. I'm not hating on Skip. Keep posting.
We won't be friends anymore.
I'll have your number still. I'll send it to your phone.
Don't you be texting me that crap.
I'm a shirtless Spence.
Cody Finney, dude. Cody, can I just tell you, everybody needs to be more like Cody Finney. Cody Finney is the man. He's just all up in our business, which is good. Elliot, after that game, pissed me off. Everyone gave us no credit. They said it was bad Cowboys. You know what's funny about that game? And as much as I disagree with that statement, Cody, I think the Bills, the amount of love that the Bills got after that game, that's when like the Bills hit the map. It was like, this team is for real. Like I said it on my show, I think this past weekend or this past Monday. Like literally, the Bills were Thanksgiving Day. And what's funny is like all of us as Bills fans, we're scared to death about the Bills being on Thanksgiving Day and laying that proverbial egg that they have laid for the last 20 years. And the Bills were Thanksgiving Day. But I think for me, the most disappointing thing about that game, and this is hard because I love Trey White, but it goes back to the original conversation we had about the right way to win. I wasn't a big fan of Trey making fun of Dak, but I know they were having fun. It was the national stage, and it is what it is. But that's a conversation for another day.
Well, no, I'm with you because I like the energy that McDermott brings. That seems to be very, just like I'm here to do my job and I'm leaving. But at the same time, like you said, it was that hey, the Bills are here. It was that moment. So I could get them wanting to show some personality. I do want to talk first. RD 706. Thank you for that. We respect you too, and that's what Joe said earlier. You're with us. But I do want to comment on this because people think that we don't know what we're talking about. First, we know the Cowboys had the number one offense in the league last year, but when I say their offense isn't the same as Kansas City, so no, Kansas City didn't have the number one offense. But if they wanted to have the number one offense, it's very possible every time they get on the field to blow you up.
Yeah.
So please don't confuse statistics for yards with potency when you're looking at a team. It's two different topics.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a magic to Pat Mahomes' game, and there's something about being down by 10 or being down by 14 or being down by 18. And Josh Allen has a little bit of that clutch factor. I know there's people out there in Bills Mafia that don't believe Josh Allen is clutch, which is the biggest joke in the world. There's something about the magic that Pat Mahomes has and bringing his team back, willing his team back to win down 10 in a playoff game. It'll be interesting to see. The Cowboys don't have that. Like, if you remember that Cowboys-Jets game, the Jets embarrassed the Cowboys on primetime football. Like, wasn't it in Dallas, too? Like, it was pathetic. And it was the Jets. And the Jets, if there is a bad news bears of the NFL, like total dysfunctional team, dumpster fire floating down the road in a river, it's the Jets, like legit. So what you got?
Yeah, no, Sterling said Kansas is the most explosive team in the league. He's right, and like I said, I know that Dallas had the number one. I get it, but no. And actually, this comment I had up a second ago, the Pittsburgh game was an equal statement. So like we said a few seconds ago, it was a big statement to win in primetime. It was a Sunday night game, so it was good, but it was against Duck. Their offense didn't
hang on a second, but you say that, but the Bills have laid that egg before. And the difference is like the Thanksgiving game was, okay, Buffalo, we're going to put you – I don't remember if I said it on the air. I don't remember where I said it, but I said to somebody, that Thanksgiving Day game, for me was basically lobbing a softball at the Cowboys. Okay, Dallas, we're going to give you a softball, and we're going to give you the Buffalo Bills, and we're going to expect you to pound them into the dirt.
This win. Right.
We're going to pound them into the dirt. And like the Bills came out and owned the Cowboys. So there was a statement made there. The statement in the Pittsburgh game was, can the Bills win when they need to? Can the Bills win a game when they need to? And let's be honest, in the last 20 years, The Bills have not won a game when they needed it. Since the Music City Miracle, the Bills have not won a game when they needed it. And that's the statement that was made there. You know what? We can win when we need to. That's the difference between those two games, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I still feel like Pittsburgh, with it being Duck, to me, it wasn't a big – I get it was Sunday Night Football, so it was a big stage, but it wasn't, and – don't act like Kansas City is an unstoppable force. Who stopped them this year?
But the pressure was there. I love this comment. Don't act like Kansas City is an unstoppable force.
They just won a Super Bowl. Nobody stopped them. Who stopped them? No, I'm just saying they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they got beat. I mean, they had a hard time against the Browns, if I'm not mistaken. No, correct. They're not an unstoppable force, but that's why that game that's why I flipped the script on Jay Spence and said, is it more of a statement game for the offense or for the defense? And I think it's more of a statement game for the defense because their defense isn't great, and I think our offense is going to be potent. So it's going to come down to, it could potentially be, the San Francisco 49ers Bills game when it was like 49-47 or whatever that game was, where there was no punts, the no punt game against the 49ers. I mean, that game could be back and forth, up and down the field, like the whole time. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, you're right though. They did have a tough time with Cleveland, and they weren't undefeated. So no, they're not an unstoppable force, but in reality, they're the closest thing to that in the league right now offensively. Them and really, I think this year we'll see teams learn how to handle the offense of the Ravens better because there's some film on them. But still, even then, Greg Roman he did the same thing here in Buffalo. We have the number one rushing attack. He's just good at that. So, there's certain offenses that are just going to do what they do. So what I'm saying is when the Bills play them, you can't sit here and say, oh, we act like they're an unstoppable team. Well, we got to stop them. We got to try. And it's a tough task. They have weapons on each side. They have two guys that at some point were considered number one receivers on both sides. So I know Sammy didn't perform like he was supposed to be, but he's shown flashes.
Sure.
So you got Sammy there. You got Tyreek. I'm just saying.
But to Rex's point, and Rex, thanks for the comment, KC does not have the best offensive players in the league. They have the best tight end in the league. They've got the best quarterback in the league. Tyreek Hill is not the best wide receiver in the league, and they don't have a running back. I know you're hopeful for the rookie, but they don't have the best.
I'm not hopeful. I hope he's bad.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley. You put Saquon Barkley on that Kansas City Chiefs team and forget it. You put Julio Jones and Saquon Barkley on that Kansas City Chiefs team, and they're never losing a game. Like you can't say they've got the best.
You put Devin
Singletary
players on that team.
For sure.
You put Devin Singletary on that team, and it's a different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're done, everybody, in 3 minutes. So we have been on for an hour and 27 minutes and having a blast with you guys. So we're done in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'm having fun with this.
Yeah, thank you guys for the interaction. This is amazing. This is exactly what we want this show to be. Absolutely. Ooh, we called you Heffy. Where did Heffy come from? After you answer this question, where did Heffy come from? Go for it.
Okay. So I'm just worrying. Are you a Lakers fan also? Because I'm also a Lakers fan too. I'm absolutely a Lakers fan. I had on my Lakers jersey earlier.
He was wearing a tank top.
I was rocking my LeBron.
He was wearing a tank top.
No sleeves. I had the guns out. No, I'm absolutely a Lakers fan. I'm excited. And if you all don't know, starting next week on Tuesday, the Code of Conduct is going to have a second edition that will be airing. And I'll make sure I drop that link and everything. But that show will be geared towards basketball, the Lakers, the return of the NBA. But we're also going to talk some other things as well, not just Lakers. But so, yeah, I'll make sure you get that link, especially since you're a Lakers fan.
All right, let's do this.
Jefe. So Jefe is in Spanish, it means boss.
I know what Jefe means.
Well, no, I'm saying it for other people. There's 100-something people in here, gotcha. Or 90 now. So I used to work at M&T Bank when I was in Buffalo, and I worked at the branch downtown on Niagara Street. And it's a heavily populated area of Hispanics. It's nothing but Hispanics over there. So the young ladies in the branch would always call me Jefe instead of boss. So I just kept it and ran with it.
Very cool. Well, we just literally, your Jefe statement made us lose 10 people, but I think it's more just about the fact that an hour and a half is a long time to be on. So let's wrap this thing. We got about 90 seconds to wrap this thing up. If a super chat comes in, we'll get to it. But we want to thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Fanatics Network. My name is Joe Miller. I'm the voice of the Overreaction Podcast. You can find me at Joe Miller Wired. You can find my show at Overreaction S as in Sam, P as in Peter 1, Overreaction SP1. This over there is my co-host, who's one of my great friends, and I love with all my heart. Go for it. Who are you?
And my name is Jay Spence the King. Y'all can find me. Oh, there we go.
How'd you get him back?
I just stopped. I took the comments off. I wish Steve could have texted me or something, man. He's supposed to be our producer.
Mother trucker.
Text me.
Mother trucker.
And said, hey, just take the comments off. So, yeah, you can find us, and that's the name of our shows as well. So find us on Twitter. We really, really, really would love to interact with you guys. So
yeah, dude.
When we say that, I mean, we really will respond. So please get on there, follow us. We'll follow you back and talk. I had a blast today, Joe.
Yeah, me too, man. This was a lot of fun. We started out a little bit slow, but definitely found a rhythm about 30 minutes into it. So, yeah, this was a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys had fun too. But yeah, this has been the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Fanatics Network. We love you guys. For me, Joe Miller, for Jay Spence over there. Man, this is so weird. Jay Spence over there. We appreciate you guys. We'll find you. Right. We'll find you on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Jay Spence is not. We'll catch you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Love y'all. See ya.